Hello, today we are going to talk about the most lethal weapon ever made by man. And this lethal weapon is made and also it's basically stays underwater. And by staying underwater, it is very hard for it to be located and it is very hard for it to be destroyed because it is underwater because nothing operates underwater. If it's a aeroplane flying above it, it cannot locate the precise location, and if it wants to attack it or destroy it, it is very hard for it. So this particular weapon it has taken a lot of evolution for it to be where it is today. So today I'll be talking about the evolutions and how it started and how it is right now being the most lethal weapon. Before it was the most lethal weapon, after that it was just a basic idea where people were trying to do some idea and see if it will work. It was a good idea, it sounded good, but it was impossible to implement. But by people, they were able to implement that idea, and that idea has given birth to so large amount of technology and so large amount of information to be known what is happening under the sea. So this most lethal weapon is the submarine. The submarine, before it was known as the submarine, it was the first name and also the first type of submarine which was built was the submarine called the Turtle. The Turtle was a special type of submarine which was made from two two types of wood blocks, and these wood blocks will be cut into a hollow point. So a wood block where it is a tree stump, where that tree stump will be shaped into a barrel where there will be some air inside that barrel where somebody can be able to breathe. And what they did extra is to put some propellers and also a cycling pad where the person who is inside that barrel, it will only accommodate only one person. So the person who is propelling the that wooden barrel called the Turtle, it will be able to move to any type of direction and also to move to different types of places. And this idea came about when the United States were fighting with the British because they wanted to gain their independence, which was in the Civil War around there, 1776 over there. So in this civil war, the Navy troops, the British troops had superior warships, and these warships were very superior to the warships of the American. So the Americans decided, let's look for a way where we can send weapons which will attack underwater, and it will be more cheaper than us having to fight on the sea, because it's either our ships gets uh, killed or the other enemy's ship gets destroyed. So it was a better option for them to attack underwater, and it's when they invented the Turtle. And this Turtle now had so much inferiority in the Turtle, because the Turtle was it when it went to the bottom of the British ships, it was unable to plant the bomb under the ships of the United of the UK of the British, because these ships were basically plated with some hard type of metal, so it was very hard to drill, because the work of the Turtle was to go under the ship and be able to drill that ship. After drilling the ship, it was able to plant the bomb there. After planting the bomb, it was able to go. After going, it is when the bomb will be able to detonate. So this was a failure because there was one reason, because there was not so much people could not. The only one person could be able to use this particular Turtle, and it was the air wasn't sufficient, because the air will only last for like 20 to 25 minutes. So the mission will be a short type of mission where a person will have to go and do a precise attack, and it will be happening only once. Unlike the right now submarine, which can have a lot of targets and also stay underneath without any problem. So the next type of submarine, they wanted to solve the problem of the air, which was the deficient in the first submarine, the Turtle. So air was in the second one is where they were able to build a bigger submarine by the USA, and this submarine was able to use electricity to change water into oxygen and hydrogen, because water is H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. If you are able to separate these two, you'll be able to operate inside the water for a longer period of time. So the US were able to invent a machine where it is able to filter out, and also when it passes electricity on the water, it is able to filter out the oxygen, and the oxygen will be used in that ship. So the next ship of US they were able to create a ship which could last longer time on inside the water, and it was more favorable for them because they will go for longer missions. Now the only problem with that ship, the ship was, for it to attack an enemy, it will have to go close to that enemy and plant a bomb into that enemy ship. And one thing about this particular second submarine which they created is the submarine had a bomb on its beak. It had a strong beak where the ship, when the submarine goes next to the ship, it is able to thrust it into the other ship, and also after thrusting it is able to leave the ship. I remember that time when it's leaving the ship, there's a cable which is connected between the bomb and also the submarine. So when the submarine is in a longer distance range, it is able to detonate the bomb which it has planted on the ship, and also the ship is being able to detonate and also destroy the ship. So this was the first submarine to destroy a ship, and after being the first submarine, it was now known that it is able to destroy ships underwater. So this technology even grew more further and further. So the next technology, where the only problem with these ships were the submarine had to get close to the particular ship so that it can bomb it. And this was very risky, because if you go underneath another ship, it can be able to locate you because of the radars, and also the people can see some type of movement underwater. So they had to look for another type of method which they'll be able to reach to the submarines, to the ships, without even trying to go exactly where they are. That's when they were able to invent a torpedo. A torpedo is a particular type of weapon where you can be able to shoot it where the submarine is, and it can be able to go and travel and also crash the ship which you intend to destroy. So the torpedo was basically being run by when the submarine is able to release the torpedo goes by its own fuel, and this fuel was basically generated by fuel which is diesel and just fuel. So and one thing with the fuel being generated, it used to cast a lot of thrust and also a lot of bubbles inside the sea. So any ship which was basically targeted by the torpedo, the people will be able to see the ship and will also be able to evade the ship, because evade the torpedo, because they'll see some trails of bubbles coming along the way. So what the Germans did, now Germans were able to implement on that idea and made another torpedo which works on electricity, just pure electricity. And this was better because it reduced the amount of bubbles being produced, and this made the particular type of torpedo be anonymous. And being anonymous, it will be able to destroy ships, and being able to destroy ships, it will also guarantee a victory to their side. So what happened in the World War II is when now the torpedoes were made to become even more. One submarine will be able to accommodate between 20 torpedoes. So imagine a submarine going underwater and not being able to come back to put more firepower inside the submarines. The submarines were basically made bigger so that they can accommodate more weapons, which are the torpedo. and after accommodating more weapons, they will be able to go to their mission without even coming back. So this was very effective in the World War II, where the Germans were able to destroy, I think it was around 15 to 20 ships of the British side, and also these ships were being used to transport goods from British to other countries like America. So this was a very good way of which it was a breakthrough for the Germany to make a particular submarine to which can be able to accommodate more than 5 weapons at the same time. So the next problem which they had encountered is these particular submarines had to find water to go back to this to land to so that they can be able to fuel their submarines. So this was a problem because this will also be you have all the weapons but you are unable to go and attack your enemy because because you have the fuel is low. So this was a major fallback for them. So what they decided to do is to make another type of submarine, and this submarine will be able to carry for them fuel, and carrying for them fuel when they go into long distances, because most of these submarines were being sent to missions which were miles away from the shore and miles away from where the home is. So they invented another cow ship, where the cow ship is basically the same ship as the submarine, where this submarine has been attached with more fuel tanks. So the cow submarine is able to go with the submarine, and when the other submarine has finished fuel, it is able the cow submarine is able to help the other submarine to refuel, and this refueling was being able to be made by these two when they all come out of shore. So they will have to come out of shore. After coming out of shore, it's when the refueling will take place, and this refueling will take place around for 5 hours, and this was very long hours for any type of refueling to take place. This will render them useless for those 5 hours, and they'll be able to be attacked, and any penetration of attack, it was able for them to encounter any attack. So this led to a lot of losses on the Germany side, because what the British did, the British were sending aeroplanes, and if they see any type of cow submarine, they will be able to bomb these submarines which are carrying fuel for the other submarines, and it will be able to kill two cow submarines, because it will send almost 4 other submarines home, because without the refueling part, the other submarines will be rendered useless. So now the people wanted to have a new type of method, which was fueling, and energy was a very type of critical thing about the submarines. Now it is when the US invented something which was the US and also the other parts of the world were in a race of inventing a nuclear reactor, where a ship will be only run by the nuclear, and being run by nuclear, it will be able to have a lot of energy and spend most of its time underwater without coming back to refuel. So basically, being run by nuclear is what I mean is 4 kg of uranium can run a particular submarine for almost 100,000 kilometers. So 100,000 kilometers is like the circumference of the earth is around 40,000 kilometers. So you can be able to take around the trip of the world, around the world 2 times without needing to refuel again that ship, and it will only be run by only 4 kilograms of uranium. So you can imagine how amount of uranium and how amount of powerful is uranium, because 4 kilograms is a little, and these 4 kilograms of uranium, they will be used to detonate, and after detonating they will produce a lot of amount of heat, and this heat will be used to boil water, and this steam will be used to put out electricity inside the submarine, and also will be used to propel the submarine, the steam which is being produced by the uranium boiling water. So this was a major breakthrough for the US. And after discovering this, they were able to make a ship which will be able to go underwater without the need of fueling for 100,000 kilometers. So the next breakthrough and the next problem was the US, the Russian were the first people to invent a ship which will be able to launch weapons which they will be able to go on top of the air. The weapons which were being used in these submarines were the torpedo, and torpedo used to operate just underwater, and it used to target only ships and also other ships and boats. So it was basically situated for the water attacks. But the Russian people invented something where these ships were able to dock on the sea, and they were able to release missiles, and these missiles was increased, and it was something which was in demand because it was around the 1945s over there when the people were in the atomic energy, and that was the era of atomic energy. So they were longing to create a atomic bomb where they will be able to launch it from the sea and be able to attack the particular destination that they wanted it to attack. So the Russians were able to launch, and also they were able to invent this particular force where the submarine will be able to dock on water. And after docking on water, it will be able to throw its own missile to go into another particular place. So the problem with the Russian invention was for any type of missile action to take place, the submarine will have to show itself on water, and after showing itself, it just shows the tip of the submarine, because these submarines were made that it was long, but in the center of the submarine there was like a cup. It was like a cup where the missiles will be able to be put. So the Russian submarines were only being able to just show the small part of the cup, and after the small part of the cup is exposed to air, it will be able to launch its missile. So what Americans did, they decided to make something which will be able to be released. A missile will be able to be released underwater. It doesn't matter where it is, it will be released underwater, and it will be able to go above the water and also go to its particular location and also destroy it. So they made something where that missile, it is just a cup where it is a tube. Inside that tube is the missile, and above the tube is a cup. So what they do if they want to launch the particular missile is detonate this particular cup. And remember, this tube has no water, it is been filled with air. After detonating this particular cup, the cup will break through, and after breaking through, without that small split of a second, the missile will be able to be ignited. After being ignited, some pressure of air will be pushed, and after pushing this missile, it will push it will thrust a large amount of force into that particular missile inside the tube. And after thrusting that amount of force, the missile will be able to come out of water. And after coming out of water, it is when the missile will be able to ignite. And after igniting, it will be able to go to its destination. And remember, this time they had made these missiles which the US were making, they were 14 times more powerful than what the bomb that they threw in Hiroshima in Japan. So you can imagine 14 times powerful than the bomb which they threw in Hiroshima. This was very devastating, because if they threw a particular bomb over here, it was so devastating. If the Japan was the worst, now you can imagine 14 times more powerful. What type of weapon is this? That's why the submarines are called the most dangerous weapon and the most destructive weapons. So by the build of this type of submarines, the amount of destruction was unthinkable. So nations were able to respect each other because of this type of war, and nobody wanted to escalate the war because the war was just a brink of the extinction of the whole world. So the other thing which now the US have made a submarine which is able to launch missiles underwater. The submarines are able to be fueled by nuclear. There's no need to go back to land to refuel again. So the next step of submarine they made, it is called the George Washington. The George Washington was a type of submarine which was uh, no, the machine which now was able to have all these functions was the George Washington. And one thing about the George Washington was the George Washington was a type of submarine which was making a lot of noise, which when it was moving underwater. And this noise will be able to be detected by enemies. And one of the things which enemies can use to detect submarines is noise. Not on People think it is radar, but the most aspect of detecting an enemy is noise. Noise is the first one. When you hear the noise, you know the enemy is approaching or where the particular type of enemy is located. So what they did, the fins which were been propelling the type of submarines, there were three fins. So there were like three blades. Three blades were the ones which were rotating the submarines. What the US did, because these three blades were being able to, when they rotate, they were making bubbles, and these bubbles were resulted by the water around it being heated, and being heated when the steam of the bubble inside the steam inside the bubble, when it burst, it was able to make a lot of noise. So when a submarine was approaching somebody, the noise of the bubbles was easily detected. So what the US did was to make another submarine which will be able to go underneath the water very silently and be able to execute its force without being seen or being known where it is. So what they decided to implement in that particular fin, they added more fins. So adding more fins, there were now 7 fins around the particular type of submarine. So it was easier that when it rotates, it will produce even double the amount of thrust it was produced at a lower rate of speed than the first submarine, the George Washington. The George Washington will the speed of thrusting a particular ship, let's say, it will go into a higher speed so it can be able to thrust the submarine forward. But this other invention was a small amount of speed of the rotating fin, and it will be able to thrust the submarine even more further. So this was made by, because one thing underwater, water boils in different types of Celsius. When the higher the pressure, the higher the boiling point of water, and this is mainly applied in the pressure cookers. And if you lower the pressure inside any particular place, the boiling point goes lower. So there are some pressures when you put water into zero pressure, the boiling point of the water will be room temperature. So the water will just basically start boiling at 32 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees. So this was a reason why the bubbles underwater, they were being able to catch steam, because when they were being propelled, the pressure was low, and the bubbles and the water around it was able to boil more at a lower melting point than at a lower boiling point than the usual boiling point, which is also above the atmospheric pressure. So this last submarine was the Pennsylvania, the USS Pennsylvania. And this type of submarine can be able to stay underwater for more than 20 years without the need of refueling. And the amount of uranium which it has survived using the type of amount of uranium is just a fist of the hand. This type of uranium is the one which has been used to propel that ship 20 years ago. It was launched in 1989, and still today it is underwater without the need of fueling. So you can imagine this amount of uranium, how it can be able to fuel a very large amount of ship. This ship is very long, and it needs a lot of equipments to run it, and also all the electricity. It's just depending. It's been dependent on that one particular type of uranium, the hand fist size of this type of uranium. So this type of, and it has stayed for underwater for almost 20 years. The only problem with it is when people want to eat, it's when it can be able to dock. It boards new food for the members inside the crew, and this food can be able to last them around 75 days. And these crew members which are inside that ship all go for a particular days of 75 days. So when your shift of 75 days it has ended, another type of crew can be able to come into that ship and run that ship for another 75 days. Then another crew can be able to be changed. So that's the final part of the US submarines, and it is the biggest submarine of which the US have and the US Navy have, and it is the most lethal weapon ever made. It can destroy, it is 14 times, the weapon inside that ship is 14 times stronger than the bomb which was thrown in Hiroshima. Now imagine one particular type of missile has that power of 14 bombs which were thrown in Hiroshima. And it's not only one missile which is in that submarine. There are more than 5 missiles, more than 6 missiles inside that submarine. So you can imagine what that submarine can do. So I hope you like this particular video of the most lethal weapon in the world. And I hope you come back to watch more videos like this, and I hope you enjoy. So please subscribe to this channel, and also I would like for you to give me a favor and also click on the thumbs up button so that this video can be recommended to other people, and this will also help me a lot. And I say thank you till we meet next time.